YNW Melly was just seen at his newest court hearing screaming at his lawyers. The news wrote, "Today's hearing marks the first time YNW Melly publicly went against his legal team's advisement in open court, as Melly was seen yelling at them."
Yes, sir.
Against our advice, our client wants to proceed.
You objected to their request for me to determine this automatic stay.
Based upon what our client has instructed us, yes, sir.
As the evidence that they are arguing about is YNW Melly's team affiliation. One piece of evidence that they want to use against him is this Facebook post of YNW Melly with Young Thug, where they are trying to say that Melly is a part of the Red Street team.
Same thing, the use of the slap term, 5-point star, snake. He's saying he's YSL, he's hanging with him. And he puts up his YNW for life hashtag on it with Mr. Devins has the big B hand signs displayed.
Okay, and these individuals again, I'm assuming that's also Young Thug. That's also unknown.
Yes.
Also important to your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Also publicly available for anyone to see and capture.
Where you see YNW Melly yelling at his lawyers, people inside of the courtroom overheard it and said, quote, "I don't care, I'm not in no gang, they can't prove that."
I'm aware that it's at 924-071. Call for an automatic stay while
they were aggravators. They go to membership in a gang. There are things that the jury would have to find before going into penalty.
Not aggravator, that's the death. Only aggravator, that's the gang enhancement itself, Your Honor. That was charged. He was charged in committing the murder for the president of the gang, which is an aggravator in terms of the guilt.
something that they would have to find by way of an interrogatory.
Yes.
But it's important to understand why Melly doesn't care if the evidence is included. You would think that it would make him look worse to the jury, but in reality, if Melly's lawyers do get that evidence thrown out, the paperwork that comes alongside it will make the trial begin in 2027, meaning that YNW Melly will have been sitting in jail for 7 to 9 years before ever getting a conviction.
I do find this case to be under the most compelling circumstances. Mr. Devins, as I sit here today, has been in custody for 2,339 days. Besides Mr. Devins' cases, which I've removed, this division currently has 38 other cases, special set for trial. 22 of those are murder cases. Numerous of those are death cases. And right now, this division has trial special set in December of 2026.
But the state wants this trial to be delayed once again. They want to bring in a ton of new evidence against Melly. That way they can ensure that he gets sentenced to life inside a prison.
And finally, Judge, just so, again, the record's clear, given Judge Murphy's order, and there would be an intent to comply with it, what the court is compelling the state to do is to go forward with evidence that has been suppressed. In other words, we would not be able to use that evidence.
You can't.
Right.
It's suppressed. That's exactly correct.
As of now, the attorneys could go to the appellant court and request that they issue a stay or place a hold on the trial, and that seems to be the only way that this trial does not move forward on the scheduled date. So if that doesn't happen, Melly trial number 2 will begin in about 2 months.
This would end up resulting in YNW Melly's mother going on Instagram Live after the court day, sharing a decision on when the trial will finally begin.
Basically what happened today is the judge has said we are not delaying trial. We will be going to trial September 10th, even though there's things that's up with the 4th DCA that has been ruled to be suppressed and not able to be used in the upcoming trial. The judge is just upholding those orders. So therefore, all of basically what was up on appeal was all of that stuff, what they were using as an enhancer in order to get the death penalty qualified. The judge ordered all of that to be suppressed. So moving forward onto the new trial, the state will not be able to bring in that evidence.
At the end of the hearing, YNW Melly's lawyers also asked for a bond release until trial in September. But sadly, the news wrote YNW Melly's reaction after not receiving a bond in his double M case. He's been in jail for 2,320 days without a guilty verdict, as sadly he was denied. But YNW Melly had one huge win inside of that courtroom, which could result in him being released in the coming weeks. And let me explain. An FBI agent took the stand. This specific FBI agent specializes in cell phone data research. The report shares, YNW Mely's lawyers questioned an FBI agent that did an analysis on Mely's phone at the time of the crime.
Based on the information, you can't really tell the court precisely which locations these phones are following, can you?
One of the limitations of cellular analysis is that you can only say a general area where the device would be at a given time.
All right. So even with the general analysis, all of the stuff that we've gone through for about 4 or 5 hours, at the end of the day, you can never give an exact location.
True.
And could you tell if somebody was walking around a car with the phone? Would you be able to tell that?
No.
So it'd be your testimony that this phone, 9807, could be from here to here, correct?
Yes.
However, it's the next topic of conversation where it gets very interesting. A DNA specialist then took the stand. His job is to go over the DNA research on the items that were found at the crime scene, as well as items that were inside of the Jeep that the YNW boys were driving in. This was Mely's biggest win so far of the entire case. The report shares, a DNA analyst confirms that YNW Mely's DNA was not found on multiple items that were recovered at the crime scene, which are related to the crime itself.
So going to item number 22, the swab from the Gucci sandals. We're able to compare the profile from Mr. Demons as opposed to the profile developed from those sandals.
I did, and he was excluded.
The stain on the front of the t-shirt, item number 23. We're able to compare Mr. Demons' profile to that.
I did a comparison, and he was again excluded.
What about item number 24, the cutting of the stain of the rear of the t-shirt?
After comparisons were done, he was excluded.
Okay, then on item number 25, the swab of stain from the Air Jordans.
Again, an exclusion.
Going on to item number 26, the swab from the yellow jacket.
An exclusion as well.
And in terms of the item number 27 and 28, the swabs at the Gatorade bottles. What were the results on that?
Those were both exclusions.
However, Mely's DNA was found on the car door handle, which is obvious as we watched him get into the car. As with YNW Mely being seen getting into the vehicle and his DNA being there, this then questions about rapper Fredo Bang's involvement, which is what the feds truly want to know. Now, the feds claim they have proof that YNW Mely was picked up by rapper Fredo Bang when the crime went down, as when it originally occurred, Mely's cell phone shows him jumping into a bush and then being picked up by somebody random.
And Chris Thomas are. So what you're also going to find out is while Mr. Demons is out there on the side of the road, 4 in the morning, 4:42 specifically, he sends a drop pin, digital homing beacon, to his current location, to one of his friends, Frederick Givens. Frederick Givens is also involved in the music industry, and he asked to be picked up. Frederick Givens, then, about 11 minutes later, is sent another drop pin where Mr. Demons has moved a couple of meters. What you're going to find out as well, though, is these digital leashes, they have more than just phone calls.
Now, the feds want a confirmation on why Fredo Bang picked up YNW Mely, so they did the worst thing imaginable. The news wrote, a no communication order has now been filed in the YNW Mely trial. The order makes Mely and Bortlen completely separate. No talking, no lawyers, just silence. As the prosecutors have been forcing Bortlen to snitch against YNW Mely by trying the two together in the next trial.
Issue here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It's just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Mely, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Mely is found guilty.
If Bortlen knows that he didn't commit this crime, he won't physically be able to sit there and just take life in prison to the chin, making it very likely he'll then point the finger against Mely, just like Mely tried to do against Bortlen in the original trial. Because what you didn't know is Mely's lawyers, they already tried pinning this against Bortlen.
Those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, a car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry.
Mely's own lawyer revealed that it was Bortlen that was lying to the feds, and that he was the one with powder residue on his hands, while also being the last person with Juvie and Sackchaser when they passed away. They even went as far as to bringing a forensic scientist that covered the passings to go into further detail about Bortlen having the powder residue.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of powder residue and two component particles, and the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of powder residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was powder residue present on the hands.
All of this is exactly why YNW Bortlen has not said a word on social media now for over a year, as when Mely's mistrial was granted, he would end up making his last tweet. It reads, YNW Bortlen tweets a mysterious message on the same day Mely's mistrial was declared. As the tweet reads, mind games don't work on people like me, alongside a handshake emoji as if he's accepting some sort of deal, as having YNW Bortlen on their side will answer a very important question, which is the context of what happened 5 hours after the crime occurred, where Mely and Bortlen were caught on video. It was announced the prosecutors updated evidence against Mely. He didn't know that he was filmed admitting to the passings of Sackchaser and Juvie, where only 5 hours after the crime was done, Mely was seen dancing in a parking lot with YNW Bortlen.
Mely still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! No, still turned, regardless of what happened. You already know.
Showing not even an ounce of sadness for the passing of their 2 best friends. However, without his knowledge, he was filmed again. 30 minutes before the crime, Mely was seen exiting the studio by himself, sitting directly in the back left seat of the Jeep, where he would sit and wait for Sackchaser, Juvie, and Bortlen to get in.
Excuse me, you're able to see? Yes? All right.
Now, the official court document reads, the direction of bullets traveling from left to right in the vehicle supports the claim that they originated from the back left seat. This is where YNW Mely was positioned. Even YNW Juvie's mother confirmed he was sitting there.
Can you state your name? Your full legal name for the jury?
Leon Phillips.
Okay. And are you related to one of the victims in this case?
Yes, I am.
How so?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Janelle.
But did you know Melly's likelihood of being found guilty in his September trial increased by 95%? It is so disturbing that many believe the Florida court system is corrupt as of what just happened. This is because the prosecutors made a deal with Melly's ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton, as before Melly's original trial, Melly forced Mariah to leave the United States so then she cannot testify against him. She was supposed to testify, but she never showed up. This made her wanted by police for the last few years.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
However, sources confirmed that Mariah wanted to see her family, so she returned to the United States. Once returning in the airport, she was immediately arrested and brought to the county jail. She had a very hard time on the inside. This is why on her first court appearance, the judge gave her one chance to be released, saying if you agree to testify against Melly, you're free to go. Before he could even finish his sentence, Mariah would accept the offer, making it the worst news imaginable for Melly. She would then write on Facebook, "And to my village, thank you to my village. I love you all so much. God's plan, not mine." They want her to testify against Melly because of what they found on her iCloud account. This relates to Melly forcing her to not testify in trial. This is known as witness tampering, and it carries a life sentence in prison regardless if Melly is found guilty of taking out sack chaser in juvie.
The state filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
Now, I need you to understand the witness tampering case is separate from YNW Melly's existing case of sack chaser and juvie passing away, as the prosecutors claim they have witness tampering evidence on Melly, who used jail phones to spam call Mariah to leave the United States. It got so bad, Jamie King even did an interview exposing the county jail for not allowing Melly to use a phone.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
But if the evidence is true that YNW Melly was using the jail phone to commit witness tampering, then that's why they have not allowed him to use it. As the scariest part is, they 100% have the evidence stored away. They wouldn't just hold him off of the jail phones if it was a hunch, as that would result in a massive lawsuit for the police. But what's even scarier for YNW Melly is what the police were just allowed to start using against Melly, which is Bortlen's interrogation on the night of the crime. This is never before seen footage of Bortlen on his interrogation, where he was caught lying to police to cover up for Melly.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Man, I was playing music, getting off the exit. I was already getting sleepy, almost home, you know what I'm saying? And like, just out of nowhere, like, I just heard, you know what I'm saying? So, and I ducked down, you know what I'm saying, in the car, and I almost crashed the car.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the studio, from Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale studio. Which way did you take?
I took I-75, 595 to
75.
Expressway. Yeah.
Then you took 75 south?
Now, it's very clear to officers that Bortlen's story was not adding up to anything. Meanwhile, Bortlen is staying confident as he can about his story, trying to make it seem realistic. However, he would then just get caught in his lie.
Here's the hard part, where we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area, and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walk it out. They didn't find as much as one shell casing. They didn't find one piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing to what you said adds up. And it's hard.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, that's the class.
I mean, for whatever reason, your 2 friends, are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These my
these your 2, I'm assuming, close friends.
Yeah, we got.
And you're doing them an inservice by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth, sir. I don't like. What do you want?
How do you make shell casings disappear?
I don't know. How can I tell you about a shell case?
But this is where the interrogation would just go south. YNW Bortlen begins getting angry at the officers. This is because they aren't fully believing his story about what happened to his two best friends.
I told y'all the story, and that's it, bro. I don't even talk about it anymore. Like, cause I told y'all what. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Okay, just so you know, all right, because you're saying, well, I don't want to talk anymore. There's going to be a lot more questions. There's, and we're not trying to piss you off. The thing is, we don't know your friends.
Yeah.
So the reason we have to ask all these questions, because the more we know about your friends, your lifestyle, your friend's lifestyle, your friends, his friends, and the circumstances surrounding today, the more, the easier it's going to be for us to try and solve this.
Professionals would write, when the criminal hits this point of the interrogation where they're refusing to talk and not even wanting to discuss further, it is then the officer's job to reset the playing field, as the goal is to continue asking questions, hoping either the criminal will mix up his story and share different details, or accidentally say too much. The officer would reset the playing field, asking for more details of the in-the-moment actions made during the alleged drive-by. How was Bortlen driving, and did he crash into anything?
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me you telling me about some shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's going to be broken glass over there when the windows got shut out. There's going to be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
As with time running out in their allowed interrogation time, the officer would flat out ask, if you know who did this, would you tell me?
By just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS, okay? And a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay? You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't want to be a part of that. I wouldn't want to be.
Notice how Bortlen doesn't give a firm yes or no answer using his voice. This is because instead, he shook his head no. If YNW Melly was the one who did the crime, Bortlen would obviously know that. So saying no to the officer would have caused his voice to either crack or come out in a different volume than he has been using throughout the rest of the interview, which is due to him lying. This would then be a clear indicator to police that Bortlen knows a lot more than what he's sharing. But what do you believe? Like the video if you're a Melly fan, and comment down below on what you believe happened to Sack Chaser and Juvie.